sphere of influence to bring about a transformation in how our politics operates, how governance is managed, and importantly, how we as a people organize our lives. The fundamental core, Mr. Speaker, the fundamental core values must be our compass. We are prepared to be an integral part of that process. The opposition salutes all the brave men and women who have sacrificed much through action, injury, and death in defense of the rights of all law-abiding citizens. Have the opportunity to live and go peacefully about their business, notwithstanding the threat of organized criminal militias. I pause to extend condolences to members, family members, and the members of the Jamaica Constabulary and the Jamaica Defense Force, and also to the decent, peace-loving people of Western Kingston who suffered as a result of the action that had to be taken. We urge the security forces to respect the rights of every citizen and to act always in accordance with our laws. The rule of law cannot be abandoned. In the prevailing circumstances, Mr. Speaker, everything should be done to protect the innocent persons in the Tivoli Gardens and adjoining communities who have been held. In a way that they themselves cannot determine where they go when they move or where at this time. For this reason, we propose that an appropriate oversight mechanism, and I want to pause to thank the Prime Minister for accepting my recommendation in a letter to him, but I'd also like something to be established that would be accessible to members of the general public who may have complaints of abuses of the emergency powers and those who may have special needs. We are particularly concerned, Mr. Speaker, that the children, the elderly, and persons with disabilities have had to undergo extreme difficulties and who need to be relieved by appropriate emergency services. And we're asking that some special attention be given to the children, senior citizens, and persons with disabilities, and those who might be in need of some kind of emergency assistance. The current episode of violence centered in West Kingston communities, Mr. Speaker, in the West Kingston communities, but with direct coordination and connections with criminals elsewhere, represent a fundamental challenge to the existence, the Jamaican state, the rule of law, and our democracy. We repeat our call to all well-thinking and law-abiding Jamaicans to give support to the security forces as they confront this dangerous and unprecedented threat. There's no doubt that the mayhem that has ensued need not have reached these proportions had the extradition matter been handled differently. Now, however, Mr. Speaker, it is not a time to engage in that debate. All of us must be hurting deep down. Our hearts must be going out now to members of the security forces and the peace-loving and law-abiding citizens of Western Kingston. And so, it is not time to engage in that kind of debate, especially when our women, children, the elderly, are having their lives disrupted and their economic circumstances further worsened by this criminal onslaught. Mr. Speaker, at the appropriate time, we will place on the parliamentary agenda a motion to make those responsible accountable for their actions. But what all of us need to do right now, Mr. Speaker, is to ensure that there can be calm, and for us as leaders to offer hope to the Jamaican people, to let them know all is not lost and something is being done and will be done. Jamaicans will have to take the opportunity once the immediate conflict has subsided, Mr. Speaker, to define a new path and demand higher levels of accountability of those who serve in public life. We have already taken steps as a party to ensure that no criminals will find protection in our ranks. It bears repeating that much more will need to be done, not only by ourselves, but by all elements in society to ensure that not only the officials of the state, but also members of civil society be held to the highest level of accountability so that criminals will find no solace anywhere. We again, Mr. Speaker, place on the agenda
Continue, the leader of the opposition, please.
Mr. Speaker, we again place on the agenda the call for public disclosure of sources of political funding and expenditures of political parties. Thank you.
The two statements have been made in the House from the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition. At this time, I don't know if members are finished with their questioning. You would like... No, no, 1 second. And questions can be asked of both persons. Yes. Yes, Dr. Guy. Yes,
Mr. Speaker, I wish to ask Prime Minister, considering the rate of attacks in the Spanish Town and Portmore areas, where many lives have been lost since last night, including 3 children by drive-by shooting, 1-year-old child included in that. Is there any consideration of the extension of the boundaries of the state of emergency to include possibly Portmore and Spanish Town because of the rate of violence that is escalating in those communities? I plead on behalf of the persons affected in those communities, Prime Minister.
It was not considered initially when the focus was on areas of concern as defined by the intelligence that the security forces had. I take note of the event that you have referred to. It is a matter naturally that we would have to consult with the security forces about, not only in terms of the need, but also in terms of the capacity to maintain the kind of intensity that